Hello, once again, this is Pastor Larry with Let's Talk Marriage. Let's talk about it. All right. We talked about marriage in last week, how to be and stay in contact with your wife, keep communication going. Today, what we want to talk about is a little about communication between husband and wives. Now, wives, let me say this for the brothers. They're not going to sit there and pour their heart out to you. So, I don't know what it is with us guys, but we don't do that. So, and I like sometimes you ladies like to get together and then you don't really necessarily talk about anything personal, but you share your feelings with your girls and all that. Well, to speak up on a fella's behalf, we don't really do that. Very rarely you find a brother or a guy that's gonna just sit there and pour his heart out. I feel like but no, we don't do that. But what we do is we communicate in other ways. So if you stay tuned with your wife or in tune with your wife, she can pick up on things. I know a lot of times my wife read me by my expressions. Like if we go somewhere and somebody say something, she'll look for my expressions and she'll say later, "You didn't like that, did you?" Or "You liked that, didn't you?" Based on my expressions. And sometimes I'll say, "Oh no, I was just looking like that." But sometimes our expressions give us away as men. But we don't really go into all the talk and things. But if you give us a little time, we will come around eventually. So don't get discouraged when you been married to your husband for so many years and all this, and he doesn't really that's just not what guys do. I don't know what's in it. There's something that's in us that we don't do that. But women, they do that. Then they have a real photographic memory of things. They can bring up something that you did years ago and give you the date and the time. Yeah, on this date and that time you said this. And we have no recollection of what you're talking about. So sometimes we'll say, "Oh yeah, I remember that," but we don't remember that. Like a lot of times we don't remember people. We don't even remember people's names. We go, "Yeah, hey, what's up, brother?" How you doing? But we don't remember the names or anything. But what we do is, as gentlemen, we still have to respect our wives and be courteous and things. There's nothing wrong with washing dishes, fellas. Nothing wrong with that. And there's nothing wrong with changing a diaper. I did it many a times when my children were coming up. So don't think you too macho not to help around the house and all that. I try to help around the house. You know what? When we do things like this, it's still not going to be enough because we don't realize how much work that the women put in when they're doing. When you say that, oh, they're just doing housework. No, it's because I've done it a couple times when my wife was. Couldn't do it, or she was in like one time she was having surgery and I had to do some things at the house. I did the grocery shopping, and I remember my kids saying, "Daddy, please don't get no more great value stuff." It seems like when I went to the grocery store, everything was great value. But what it's nothing wrong with helping around the house and doing things around the house. My wife said the other day, "Oh, I didn't know you could do all that handyman work. You didn't do all that when you were working." I was like, "Yeah, that was the reason why I didn't do it while I was working." But since I've been retired, I do a lot more other things around the house, and we have to make sure that we like the Bible said, love our wives as Christ loved the church. We have to make sure that we compliment them on a daily basis. Make sure we listen to them, because they're going to do all the talking most of the time. So just make sure we listen to them. But don't listen in silence. I always make that mistake sometimes when my wife be talking. I won't say anything because I be listening, she'll say, you hear what I said? You didn't hear a word I said. Actually, what we're supposed to do is we're supposed to say, mm-hmm. Oh, I feel you. So to make sure that we're listening to them, because women always have a lot more to say than us fellas, so we have to listen to them. And as far as I know, a lot of wives are always trying to get there. The ones that the husband don't go to church with them. If your husband does not go to church with you, you need to find out why they're not going to church with you. A lot of times there's something that might have been said over the pulpit, or he didn't like the way the minister interact with the women. There's a lot of things that could be there. Make sure that you sit down and talk to him, ask him why he doesn't go. And if he says he does not like that church, you need to take a second thought and say, well, if he doesn't like that, just say, well, if you find a church that you like, then we can both go there. Because the husband is supposed to, the husband is the lead. So if he says there's something he doesn't like about that church, you need to find out what it is. And if he doesn't like it, find out where he does like or does feel comfortable at, and then you go with him. But wives, just because your husband don't go to church with you, or might not be the one that's speaking in tongues, you don't put them down and say, you got a devil in you. No, don't do that. And you need to get yourself up and go to church. Don't do that either, because the more you do that, the more they're going to want to stay at home. And when you're trying to get them to go to church, be wise. When you want them to do anything else, when you want them to buy you that new pair of shoes or whatever you're trying to get them to do, you fix yourself up and stuff. Fix yourself up on the way to church, and make sure you put on that cologne. And if he's still laying in the bed, just lean over there and, I'm going to church, and then all he gonna smell is that cologne, and next thing you know, he gonna be getting up, getting ready. Where you going? Where you going, baby? Let me go with you. And then he'll be going to church with you. But again, like if they don't like the church that you're going to, find out why, and then just tell them, well, I would like to go with you. So if you find a church, or a church that you feel comfortable with, we'll go there. So don't be trying to make him go where he don't want to go, because you can't make grown folks do anything. And the same thing with your children. If you can't get your children to go to church, a lot of times you can't get your children to go to churches. Young people follow young people. If you're at a church where there's not that many young people, of course your kid's not going to want to go. But if there's a lot of young people in the church, and there's they're doing things like they have a youth choir, they're going to Great American stuff, get them involved in that. Say, the youth are going to Great America, I'll get you guys some tickets if you want to go. Then that way, when they go, they'll get acquainted with the other young people, and then from there they'll start going to church. I remember years ago when I was coming up, we were in the process of changing churches, and my mother went out a couple times, and she saw that they had a bunch of young people in the church, and that was the first thing she told us when we got back. They're doing, they have choir, and there's a lot of young people there. So from there, we started, going with her to that particular church, and after that, we made friendships with the people at that particular church, friendships that last to even this day. So the friendships that you young people will find in a church is the friendships that usually will last for a lifetime. Because I have friends that we went to church when we were in grade school, high school. We're still friends to this day. And we don't see each other all the time, but we're still friends even to this day. And the same thing with your husbands. Make sure that find a common ground or a church that they would like to go to, and they would go. If you can, get them to find out exactly why they're not going, and then you can get them to go. But don't make them feel bad about anything. So don't make them feel bad about anything. Don't make them feel guilty because they said, "Oh, I don't want to go." I'm not gonna cook you no meal. Sometimes you have to. You catch more flies with honey than with vinegar. So sometimes we have to show our sweetness and our meekness in order to save souls and get people even in the church. So as husbands and wives, make sure we are loving each other and stay romantically linked with your husband. The bed is undefiled, as the Word of God says. So if that man wants you to hang from that chandelier, you find you a way to hang from that chandelier. All right? Keep him occupied, as the old folks used to say. Keep him occupied, baby. That's what you do. And make sure that you are loving on each other and respecting each other. And this is Pastor Larry, and I am signing off for today. And we will see you next week. If you have any questions when you see it, when we replay it, just put them down, and I'll try to get back with you with any questions or anything that you might have. And this is Pastor Larry once again with Let's Talk Marriage.